be available for some questions. Merci de votre présence.
Thank you for being
Je
here.
suis la caporale
I
Julie
am
Courchaine,
Corporal Julie
agente des
Courchaine,
relations avec les médias.
Media
La
Relations
commissaire adjointe
Officer,
Jane McClatchy,
Assistant
commandante
Commissioner
de la
Jane
GRC du
McClatchy,
Manitoba,
Manitoba
est ici
Commander,
pour fournir une mise à jour
will
sur
be
les
providing an
opérations
update
de recherche
on search
en cours
efforts
pour trouver Cam
in
McLeod et
locating
Briar Schmigelski.
Cam McLeod
Elle
and Briar
fournira
Shemelski.
la mise à jour
She
en
will provide that
anglais et en
update
français,
in English
puis
and French,
répondra
and
à
then
quelques
we'll
questions.
take questions.
Assistant Commissioner Jane McClatchy.
Thank you, Julie. Good afternoon. To start, on behalf of every member of the RCMP in Manitoba, I want to offer my condolences to the families and friends of the victims of the homicides in British Columbia. On the afternoon of July 23rd, the Manitoba RCMP became aware that 2 murder suspects from BC could be in our province. As you all know, a vehicle had been found burnt out in a remote area, approximately 40 kilometers from Gillam, and close to Fox Lake Cree Nation. It was later established that this vehicle was indeed the vehicle the suspects had been driving. Manitoba RCMP responded immediately, deploying frontline and tactical officers, police dogs, forensic identification specialists, and major crime investigators to the Gillam area. An RCMP plane with infrared capabilities was also deployed and conducted an aerial search of the area that same evening. Over the last week, we have done everything we can to locate the suspects. Using RCMP and Royal Canadian Air Force assets, we searched approximately 11,000 square kilometers in northern Manitoba. We canvassed every home and searched every abandoned building in Gillam and Fox Lake Cree Nation. This equates to over 500 homes and buildings. We searched rail lines, hydro corridors, lakes, rivers, vast areas of tundra and muskeg, dense forests and brush. We conducted exhaustive searches on foot, with dogs and with all-terrain vehicles. We used boats on lakes and searched from the air with drones, helicopters, and planes. We used some of the most advanced technologies available and received assistance from some of the most highly skilled search and rescue personnel in the country. In addition, over 250 tips were received and followed up on. The RCMP and RCAF personnel have logged thousands of hours, working 24/7 during this search for the suspects. However, even with this extraordinary effort, we have not had any confirmed sightings of the suspects since the burned vehicle was located. Taking into account all of the work so far, it has come time to reassess our deployment of resources to the area. Over the next week, the RCMP will begin to scale down the scope of our search efforts in northern Manitoba. This will include the phased withdrawal of the majority of specialized RCMP and RCAF personnel and assets over the coming week. To be clear, we are not ending this search. A number of tactical resources and specialized assets will remain positioned in the Gillam area and will continue the efforts to locate the murder suspects. In addition, all of our resources will be ready to respond to the region as required should new information emerge. We have also received assurances that the RCAF will be ready to assist us again if and when needed. I know that today's news is not what the families of the victims and the communities of northern Manitoba wanted to hear. But when searching for people in vast, remote, and rugged locations, it's always a possibility that they're not going to be immediately located. The terrain in northern Manitoba is immense. It's unforgiving. The weather is often very unpredictable. Additionally, there remains a possibility the suspects had some sort of assistance to flee the area. This, of course, is still an area of consideration for the RCMP. We continue to encourage the public to be on the lookout for these 2 suspects and to continue to submit tips. Something that may seem insignificant to you may be extremely valuable to our investigators. If you have information or if you believe you see the suspects, please contact your local police immediately. As the search begins to scale down in the area, I want to thank the communities of Gillam, Fox Lake Cree Nation, and York Landing for their incredible support, and the resiliency they've demonstrated over the last week. You have shown incredible strength and courage during the time of uncertainty. You came together and looked out for one another. I applaud you, and I thank you for all the help you have provided to our officers during these challenging times. I also want to assure you that our officers will still have a presence in the area and will be there for you. Do not hesitate for one moment to reach out to us if you need help. To the officers involved in the ongoing search efforts, you exemplify the professionalism and dedication that Canadians know they can expect from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Through difficult terrain, voracious bugs, all-night shifts, and knowing you could be confronted by a dangerous fugitive at any moment, you never wavered in your duty, and I am incredibly proud of all of you. I would also like to thank the RCAF and RCMP divisions from across the country who supplied incredible support to Manitoba over the course of the last week. While the search in northern Manitoba is being scaled down, it is not over, not by any means. I want to assure everyone that the RCMP is continuing to work on this investigation and will not stop until there is a resolution. Bon après-midi. Au nom
Good
de tous les membres de
afternoon.
la
On behalf
GRC
of
du
all
Manitoba,
members
je
of the
tiens
Manitoba
à offrir mes
RCMP,
condoléances
I would like to
aux
extend my
familles et aux
condolences
amis
to
des
the families
victimes
and
de meurtres
friends
qui ont
of the
eu lieu
victims
dans la
of
Colombie
the
britannique.
homicides that occurred in British
L'après-midi
Columbia.
de 23
On the afternoon
juillet,
of July
la
23rd,
GRC du Manitoba
the RCMP in
a appris
Manitoba
que deux suspects de
became
meurtre de
aware
la Colombie britannique
of the fact
étaient
that two
peut-être
murder
dans notre
suspects
province.
might have entered our
Comme
province.
vous le savez,
As you
un
know,
véhicule incendié avait été
A
trouvé dans
vehicle
un secteur
that had been burned
éloigné
out was
à
found
environ 40
in an
kilomètres
area
de
approximately
Gillam et à
40
proximité de
kilometers
la
from
nation Cree de
Gillam,
Fox Lake.
close
La
to the
police
Fox
a plus
Lake
tard
Cree
déterminé
Nation.
que ce véhicule
The
était
RCMP
bien
then
celui
established
que
that
les
that
suspects
vehicle
avaient
was
conduit.
in fact the one the
La
suspects
GRC
had been
du
driving.
Manitoba est intervenu
The
immédiatement en
RCMP
déployant des
immediately
policiers de première
intervened,
ligne,
deploying
des
frontline
officiers
officers,
tactiques, des chiens
tactical
policiers,
resources,
des
police
spécialistes
dogs,
en identification judiciaire et
forensic
des enquêteurs
identification
de crimes
specialists,
majeurs dans le
and
secteur de
major
Gillam.
crime
De
members.
plus, un avion de la
Furthermore,
GRC avec
an
capacité
RCMP
infrarouge a été
aircraft with
déployé dans le secteur
infrared
le soir
capabilities was deployed in the area that
même. Au cours
evening.
de la dernière semaine,
Over
nos
the last
policiers ont
week,
tout mis en
our
œuvre pour trouver les
officers
suspects.
have done
À
everything
l'aide des
possible to
ressources
try
de la
and
GRC et
find
de
the suspects
l'aviation royale
using
canadienne,
their
nous
resources
avons
and those of
ratissé
the Royal
environ
Canadian
11
Air
000
Force.
kilomètres carrés
We covered
dans le
some
nord du Manitoba.
11,000 square kilometers in
Nous avons
Manitoba.
visité tous
We
les
also
domiciles et foyers,
visited
tous les
and
bâtiments
canvassed
abandonnés
every
à
home
Gillam
and
et dans la
abandoned
nation Cree de Fox Lake,
facility in the
soit
area.
plus de 500 domiciles
We
et bâtiments.
entered more
Nous
than
avons fouillé
500
des
homes.
voies ferrées,
We
les
covered
corridors
the rail
hydroélectriques,
lines,
les lacs, les
lakes,
rivières, les vastes zones de
rivers,
toundra et de muskeg,
tundra,
les
dense
forêts
forest,
denses et la brousse.
and
Nous
brush.
avons effectué des recherches
We
poussées
carried
à
out
pied,
searches
avec des
on
chiens
foot
et
with
dans des
dogs
véhicules tout-terrain.
and in
Nous
all-terrain
avons
vehicles.
sillonné les lacs
We
en bateau
also covered the
et nous
lakes
avons cherché
using
du haut des airs par drone, en
drones,
hélicoptère et en avion.
helicopters, and planes.
Nous avons utilisé certaines des technologies les
We
plus
used
avancées
highly
et nous avons
effective
reçu
technologies,
l'aide de
and
certains
we
des
received
membres
the
du personnel
assistance
de recherche et
of
du sauvetage
highly
les plus
skilled
qualifiés au
members
pays pour nous
specialized
aider à
in
trouver
search
ces
and
suspects.
rescue to help us
De
find the
plus, nos
suspects.
enquêteurs ont fait le
Furthermore,
suivi de plus de
Our
250
investigators
renseignements.
received and followed up on more than 250
Plusieurs membres du
tips.
personnel de la GRC et de
RCMP
l'ARC
personnel and
ont participé à des
RCAF
recherches
staff
et nos policiers y ont
took part
consacré des
in
milliards
those
d'heures.
searches, and they logged thousands of hours in the process.
Malgré ces
In
efforts
spite of that,
extraordinaires, il n'y a toutefois eu aucune observation
there
confirmée
have
des
been no
suspects depuis
confirmed
la
sightings
découverte du
since
véhicule
the
incendié.
discovery of the burnt-out
Compte tenu de
vehicle.
tout travail accompli
Given the
jusqu'à
work that has
présent,
been
le
carried
temps
out
est
thus
venu
far,
de
we believe
réévaluer
it is
le
now time to
déploiement de nos
reorganize
ressources dans le
and
secteur.
reassess our deployment of
Au cours de
resources
la
in the
prochaine
area.
semaine, la
Over the
GRC
next week,
commencera
the
à
RCMP
réduire les
will
opérations
begin
de
to
recherche dans
scale
le
down
nord
its
du
search
Manitoba.
efforts in northern
Bref,
Manitoba.
Nous retirerons
We
graduellement la
will be
majorité du
phasing
personnel et
out
des ressources
the withdrawal of specialized
de la GRC et
resources
de
and assets,
l'ARC au cours de la prochaine
including
semaine.
RCAF resources
tiens à
over the next
souligner
week.
Que nous
I
ne
want
mettons
to
pas fin
state
aux recherches.
that we are not ending our search. Certain specialized and tactical resources will remain in Gillam and will continue to search for the murder suspects. Furthermore, the RCAF has assured us that it is ready to intervene if needed. I know that today's news is not what the victims' families and the people of northern Manitoba wanted to hear. However, this is always a possibility when searching in vast, remote and rugged areas with terrain that is difficult. The weather in northern Manitoba can be unpredictable. Furthermore, we believe that the suspects may have received assistance. This continues to be a concern for the RCMP. We'd like to remind the public to remain on the lookout for these suspects and to continue to provide us with tips. Something that may seem insignificant to you could turn out to be extremely valuable to our officers. If you have any information or if you believe that you may have seen the suspects, please contact your local police. As the search is winding down in that area, I want to thank the community of Gillam, the community of Fox Lake, and the people of York Landing for their incredible support and for their resiliency over the last week. You showed extraordinary strength and courage during this period of uncertainty. You came together and you looked after each other. And I want to commend you and thank you for the assistance you provided our officers. I also want to assure you that our officers will remain in the area and will be available. Do not hesitate to reach out to us if you need help. The officers that participated in the search operations exemplify the dedication and professionalism that Canadians have come to expect from the RCMP. Despite difficult terrain, bugs, and all-night shifts, and the possibility of being confronted with dangerous suspects, you always were there. You never wavered, and I'm very proud of you all. I also want to thank the RCAF and RCMP staff from all across the country for their support over the last week. Although the search in northern Manitoba is going to be scaled down now, I want you to know it is definitely not over. I want to assure the public that we will continue this investigation and that we will not stop until we find the suspects. Thank you.
So we're available for some questions if we have some questions. Yes, ma'am. I can't answer that, not to my knowledge, but I can tell you. But the search itself is what the RCMP in Manitoba is concerned with. The actual investigation of the homicides, that sort of thing, that belongs to my colleagues in BC. So I'm not aware of all the tips that are around that homicide. Can't comment on that. Fox Lake is in the Gillam area, so we are leaving a presence in the Gillam area to continue our search efforts. I can't comment on that from an investigational point of view. Everything is possible at this stage. The north part of the province is a very unforgiving place, as I said in my statement. Very challenging terrain, lots of wildlife. We're keeping all possibilities in mind as we go forward with this, but that is just one of the possibilities we're considering. Maintenant, le seule chose, vraiment
Now,
l'effet qu'on a,
the
c'est le
only
dernier temps,
factor
les suspects
we
étaient vus, c'était
have
à Gillum, dans
is the
la
last
région de
sighting
Gillum,
of the
avant
suspects
que
in the
la
Gillum area
voiture ait brûlé, était
before the
incendiée.
car was
C'est vraiment
burnt.
la seule chose qu'on
That's
a
really the
vraiment fait
only
maintenant. Donc, c'est
fact
difficile
we have
de
right now.
développer des théories.
So it's very difficult to
cherche
develop
partout,
any theories. We're
chaque
looking
fois
everywhere
qu'on a
possible,
une information,
every
des
time we
renseignements
receive a
du public,
tip
on
from
les-
the public,
on les garde puis on les suit.
we look at and
Donc, c'est
follow up
difficile
on
de,
it.
de say maintenant.
So it's very
Maintenant, on
difficult
travaille avec les faits qu'on
to
a.
say. We have to work with the facts and the evidence we have.
Yes. I won't speak to numbers. That wouldn't be operationally a good idea on my behalf. But I can tell you we're leaving frontline, tactical, and specialized units in a scaled-down version, and it's going to be, as I said during my statement, a phased withdrawal. So we will be leaving a presence there, but I don't want to speak to numbers. The military has assured us that they can come back and help us if we get any more information, if anything emerges, and we have tasks for them to do. They've been hugely helpful in covering an enormous amount of territory, and they remain available to help us if things change. It's a difficult job, let's be honest. When you're doing any kind of a search for a fugitive that you know might be dangerous, there's a stress level there. But this has been nonstop. This has been over a week now that we've had people in place and going really hard, and they want to find these people. They're doing everything they can. They're pulling out all of the stops to find these suspects. That being said, we've been very careful in terms of the resources we have to allow for our members to have appropriate rest, downtime, that sort of thing. They're well equipped. And that's part of my job, is to make sure they have the resources and the equipment and the infrastructure and all the logistics around sending them there. So yeah, it's been a long week, and they're working very hard in less than ideal situations between the bugs and the swamps and you name it, it's difficult. We even bought socks for a bunch of people who had wet feet, right? So, I mean, it's the way it goes. But they're working really hard. I'm very proud of everything they've done. They're extremely professional and really vigilant. So I'm hopeful that we have further developments, but at this point, this is where we are. We're using our own RCMP police service dogs. None of them in my, as far as I'm aware, are trained in cadavers, but I would have to check that. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, our dogs are not trained in that profile, but I can check that for you. But I do not. What I can tell you is that we received the tip that we deemed credible, a credible tip of a sighting in York Landing. We deployed resources, including police dogs, including drones, tactical officers, frontline officers, and we ran that down as far as we could, and we didn't come up with anything. So we could not substantiate the tip. Well, Fox Lake, as I said, is in the Gillum area. That's all I can tell you. I'm not aware right now of anything specific happening there. But we're in the area, and we will be for some time. On a toujours des détachements dans le secteur. Donc on a des membres de
detachments in that area, and they will remain there to support the community.
On va garder des ressources
we will also
dans la région
retain resources in that area for some of the time.
Donc des ressources un peu plus que normales.
More than just the regular resources.
OK, je comprends.
Yes, I understand.
C'est difficile, c'est pas quelque chose qu'on a parlé jusqu'à maintenant.
It's not something we've been familiar with thus far, but
situation on va considérer.
It's
Nous
something we
avons
will
des
consider.
secteurs dans la GRC qui aident des
We
communautés
have
dans les
areas
choses de
within the
sauveté,
RCMP
puis des choses
that
comme
are
ça. Donc,
specialized in
on
search
va
and rescue,
regarder
and we will look
cette
at that
situation après.
afterwards.
It's an interesting question. I've only been the commanding officer in Manitoba for a relatively short period of time. I've been here about 4 months, I'd say 5 months. I'm not aware of anything else in Manitoba that would equal this scope. Just from my own perspective as a 31-year member of the RCMP, I remember the times of the search for Alain Léjard in the Miramichi region and those kind of things, but I can't speak to how they compare, to be quite honest. I'm not sure. I wouldn't call it frustration. We would really like to find these suspects. We would love to be able to contribute to getting justice for the families of the murder victims and to help, and we're offering our help to our colleagues in BC in any aspect we can to help them with their murder investigation. That being said, this is a very large area that we're looking at. As I said before, it's very remote. I can't say it's terribly surprising, because it's just a very tough place to find somebody who doesn't want to be found. As far as on behalf of the RCMP in Manitoba, I'd say no. I can't. I think we've done everything we can. We've pulled out all the stops on this thing from the instant we found out about it. We deployed people quickly. We got on the ground and we've done everything we can, and we've engaged the military because we know they have expertises we thought would be helpful. No, I have no regrets. I think we've done everything pretty much. I wouldn't change anything. All I can tell you is that the RCMP in Manitoba, we became aware that they were suspects on the 23rd of July, and within an hour, I think it was, we sent out a tweet to the public in the Gillam area saying we think they might be there. So I have to disagree with you. I don't think it took long. We got it out the same day, within hours. It wasn't long. Are we good? Thank you very much.